morning. I'm Angelo Castro III.
I'm Angela and we are the Castros.
Happy Monday. It's a new week. It's great to be alive. Back on TV to talk about a lot of issues.
Dami. Over the weekend, of course, meron mga sinulog festival.
Daming festival over the weekend.
Yes, tapos
right.
International news, of course, yung usapin ng TikTok ban.
Yeah, and Trump will assume office tomorrow.
Yes.
Tomorrow or later tonight sa atin, tapos sa morning sa US. So.
Right. And here also, back here in the Philippines, yung declaration ng food security emergency. Probably, they will announce it on January 22. So yeah, pag-usapan din natin yan later.
Oo, and of course, sandwiches. Chicken sandwich
ham.
And ham
Kinain
sandwich.
na po namin yung tig-half natin.
Kasi ano to bale, 4 na slice to. So, naging 2 slice kasi kinain ni Angela lahat.
Oo, sige.
Sige. Doon ako masaya We're serving you news in a countdown.
All that before your second cup of coffee. This is Brunch.
Kicking off our countdown with TikTok. TikTok restored service in the United States after briefly being banned. The app credited President-elect Donald Trump with the restoration of service. However, TikTok remained unavailable for download in Apple and Google app stores. TikTok had shut down in the United States on Saturday, affecting 170 million users. This follows the implementation of a law signed by outgoing U.S. President Joe Biden in April of 2024, citing national security concerns. So ito nagsimula yan sa hearing sa Congress. That while inamin naman ng TikTok that they gather information from users, which is basic information as location, but parang sinasabi ng TikTok...
As well as any other apps.
Meta does the same thing.
Yeah.
Twitter does the same thing. Ang only difference is yung ownership ng TikTok is China. But what's is TikTok does not operate in China. They don't, the platform is not available in China. Meron silang red note sa China. So, ayun. Pero voluntarily shut down ng TikTok before the actual ban.
Pero yan, it's in the law that they need to be offline, 'di ba? Unless yun nga si President Donald Trump will tawag dito.
Mukhang he will, he said.
Ang tawag doon, anong word yun?
He will hold the ban. He will not enforce the ban.
For 90 days, ha?
Oo, kasi ganito po yan. Ang problema ng US is yung Chinese ownership. So parang, ang gusto ng US, majority ownership ng TikTok sana is US owned. So ngayon, the 90 days is granted provided na yung TikTok is in negotiations with other American entities. Ngayon, ang in the running kasi you have Elon Musk, you have Meta, and then you also have a guy, yung guy sa Shark Tank. Yung, I forgot his name.
I forgot his name.
But,
pero
and Mr. Beast.
Nila kasi, if an American ownership will come into place, magkakaproblema daw dyan yung mismong, the whole identity of TikTok.
Yeah.
So, sinasabi nila, if that happens, sabi nila, baka daw maging iba na siya.
Tsaka
maraming mga technicalities silang sinasabi.
Tsaka most likely daw ang Meta or Elon Musk, baka, although they have the capability to run TikTok if they buy it, parang mukhang hindi mapupunta sa kanila because there's such a thing daw in the US called regulators. Ayaw nila ng monopoly ng social media platforms. So as much as possible daw, TikTok, if they will divest, they're going to look at yung mga hindi pa masyadong in that field. Parang, yun lang kinakabahan kasi ng mga content creator. You have 170 million content creators. Yan, Kevin O'Leary, thank you. Thank you, ng Shark Tank. He is matunog na bibili ng TikTok. Because a lot of his business daw uses TikTok for his advertising. Ang magiging problema kasi dito sa TikTok, yung content creators, as I was saying, they were very scared na yung payout scheme mawawala. Mag-iiba with an American owner.
And then of course, yung yung mga employees. Thousands of employees that will be affected dahil dun sa ban ng TikTok dyan sa States. Pero sinasabi nila on the other side of the fence, is it just fair also because in China, bawal din yung mga American-based app di ba? Wala silang Facebook doon, wala Instagram
But you have to remember kasi TikTok provides informal economy. For those who kulang ang sweldo, pangdagdag, or those na walang opportunity for good work. Now, how does this affect the Philippines? Sabihin ng Pinoy, malayo naman sa atin to. How does this affect the Philippines? The Philippines, American content creators ng TikTok, there are 170 million of them.
Yes.
Ngayon, ang computation is, ang assumption is, each content creator in the US, assumption lang daw nila, sabi mo na $1 per content creator, di ba? Per year ang kinikita. So that's $170 million a year na mawawala sa US. So the way the TikTok will pay out sa Pinoy, sa ibang country, bababa. It's because yung income from the US nawala.
Yun.
So pero nakita mo what happened yung TikTok off the grid.
Oo.
Ang daming content creator pumunta ng Canada, nag-film ng video, tapos umuwi, nag-upload.
Actually, the days before daw itong nalalapit nga na naging ban ng TikTok sa US, yung ibang mga social media platforms have introduced little by little yung mga features nila that are somehow similar to TikTok.
Matagal na sa Meta yun, Reels.
Tapos of course yung CapCut. 'Di ba? Walang ganun sa Meta. Edits ngayon lumabas. Dahil nga alam nila yung sa ban nangyari ng
And lastly, before we move on
TikTok.
to the next, yung nagkaroon ng issue ang Facebook, because sa loob ng Facebook daw mismo, nagkaroon ng option to link TikTok na magre-reflect kung ilang followers ka sa TikTok. Usually kasi, pag hindi ka Meta, within the Metaverse, hindi ka bibigyan ng link na mag-directly access. Like, di ba, Instagram to Threads,
Yes.
Facebook to Instagram. Biglang nagkaroon ng ganun. So, nagkahaka-haka mga tao na.
Na baka bibili ng...
Nabili na ba?
ng
Ni
Meta.
Mark Zuckerberg?
Well, anyway, I've seen a lot of posts yesterday, even
So,
before, hours
90
before
days.
the ban. We've seen a lot of TikTok users have uploaded their videos
Farewell.
sa Facebook.
Oo.
Kasi sabi nila, baka mawala na or hindi na namin ma-access, at least it's still here. So,
Tsaka,
they transferred everything.
nagkaroon ng popular hashtag mass following. Ang hashtag mass following kasi, before we go, lahat ng American content creators will mass follow other content creators sa ibang country para lahat daw maging TikTok famous. So mawala man sila, matransfer sa ibang tao. Kasi sa India wala rin.
People and their social media.
Sa India wala rin
accounts.
kasi TikTok eh. Ban din ng
India, wala rin. This is
So,
not the first time nagkaroon ng ban sa...
Ayun. So, maapektuhan...
Kasi, well, ang sinasabi ng US, because for security reasons, dahil sa mga data that is being collected from the users, diba?
And lastly, tuwan-tuwa ang mga Canadians. Nakita mo? Ha?
Nagputahan sila doon.
Sila naman daw ang sisikat, yung mga Canadian content creator. Kasi puro Americans eh. Sabi nila, ngayon, it's our turn. Gumana na sila. Anyway, mahabang usapin pa yan,
Yes.
but we have more to talk about in the countdown. Let's move on.
Now, coming in at our top 9, the prime suspect in the killing of an OFW in Kuwait has already confessed to authorities. The victim, identified as Daphne Nakalaban, was found buried in the backyard of the suspect in late 2024. The sibling of the suspect reported the crime to Kuwaiti authorities. The Department of Migrant Workers confirmed that the suspect has already admitted to the murder, although they have yet to receive the complete report. The prime suspect and 3 others are now under police custody in Kuwait.
I think we should already be expecting a report with respect to whether or not the prime suspect will be indicted or charged in criminal court. Kasi we are really looking out for justice, seeking justice for Daphne Nakalaban.
Ayan. So, yun nga there are also calls right now to check yung policy natin or baka po pwede na tayo ulit mag-ban sa Kuwait yung pagpapadala ng OFW. Because this is not the first time
ang record
this
natin
happened.
with Kuwait this last 2 years, very shady. In other words, very spotty. Ang daming issues na nangyari, ang daming namamatay. Meron pa yung
meron. We have
sa
one.
freezer, yung sa freezer.
Oo, nakita siya sa desert, tapos yung isa sa freezer naman.
Tapos meron tayo naman yung siya yung nakapatay sa washing machine. Yung ba yung Kuwait din yun?
Pero ito yung sinasabi nila kasi kung on our end, kung tayo yung magbaban ng pagpapadala ng ng mga OFW sa kanila, we will have to reiterate yung mga nangyari dun sa mga OFW natin, which is yun nga yung mga nabanggit natin kanina. So, tinitingnan daw ni President Bongbong Marcos yan and i-review nila yung paano nga yung guidelines or regulations sa pagpapadala ng mga OFW sa Kuwait.
Sa Kuwait. Alright, let's move on to the next. On our 8th spot, the Department of Migrant Workers has taken down over 71,000 fake job postings in 2024. This includes 50,220 suspicious posts on Facebook and 21,433 on TikTok. In collaboration with Meta Philippines and TikTok Philippines, the DMW is monitoring illegal online recruitment to ensure the safety of aspiring overseas Filipino workers or OFWs. The agency also urged the public to report suspicious recruitment activities online. O kaya mag-ingat kayo kasi ang daming naloloko.
Lahat na lang fini-fake ngayon kasama dyan yung mga jobs.
You have to remember kung naniningil sila for recruitment, di ba, ng malaki.
And if it's too easy,
that means
too
it's
good
fake.
to be true.
Kasi di ba nag-reiterate ang DMW, ang placement is libre sa kanila. Basta
Saka check nyo po
accredited.
doon sa accredited na website, of course, ng DMW.
Yun, may listing doon.
Oo, ng listing ng mga recruitment agencies that are, ang tawag doon? Accredited by our government. Kasi unless wala doon, ibig sabihin hindi sila accredited.
Oo.
So wag na po kayo makipag-usap, makipag-transact sa kanila. So nauso din, actually years ago pa, na kunyari mo parang galing sa gobyerno yung website.
Yes, oo.
Diba kasi parang let's say for example, poea.gov.ph, tapos biglang meron pang iba pang nakalagay doon. So they have to be careful on checking
minsan
on that
kasi,
websites.
parang naging issue daw dati before, parang papalitan ng mga siraulo yung mga letters. Imbis na .gov, yung GOV, minsan nagiging GOB.
Yes.
So kung hindi ka masinop sa pagtitingin ng logo ng POA noon pa, or DMW, malilito ka sa itsura.
So kung hindi ka naman talaga familiar sa mga ganun. But to further discuss this, we are joined right now by Department of Migrant Workers Undersecretary Bernard Olalia. Magandang umaga po sa inyo. Yusek, thanks for joining us today.
Yes, magandang umaga po sa kanila. Magandang umaga po sa mga nanonood po sa inyo. Kumusta po lahat?
Opo, thank you po for joining us today. Siguro, unang-una lang po, Yusek, paki-explain po sa amin, ano po ba yung mga karaniwang palatandaan ng isang job posting ay peke para po ma-differentiate ng mga audience po natin ngayon, yung mga nanonood sa atin, kung ano pa talaga yung fake at yung legit.
Naku, napakagandang katanungan po yan. Sa mga ordinaryong gumagamit po ng social media, lalong-lalo na po yung mga job seekers po natin, napakahirap po talagang i-filter kung alin ang original, alin ang legit, at alin po yung fake at illegitimate. Napakahirap po talaga yan. Kasi ngayon yung mga scammers po, napaka-high-tech na po nila. They can clone your post, your web, yung kwan ninyo, tapos may papaguhin lang silang isang letra, hindi nyo po madidetect. At napakahirap po talagang i-determine whether you are already dealing with a post that is genuine and legitimate yung offer compared to one that is already illegitimate. So ang suggestion po namin, the only way to avoid this being victims of online scam, yan po ngayon ang talamak po ngayon.
Yeah.
Kanina lang, I met a mother, yung kanyang anak, call center agent, tapos na may pinatulan lang na online posting, napunta siya sa Myanmar, ngayon mahanap na siya ng paraan kung paano siya makakauwi dahil alam po niya na biktima na siya ng illegal recruitment and human trafficking.
Yeah.
So, to set things straight, pinakamainam po talaga, puntahan na lang po yung mismong opisina nung nag-post.
That's right.
Do not transact online, especially yung mga sinasabi nila magbabayad ka online. Do not pay any placement fee or any whatever service fee, however they call it, online.
Huwag transfer,
physical
no,
na kayo magpunta doon. Physical na kayo magpunta sa opisina mismo. Talk to a person who is an officer and a legitimate staff of that agency at doon na po kayo mismo makipag-transact sa kanilang opisina.
Kanina, Yusek, you mentioned yung nangyari sa isang kababayan natin na call center agent na napunta sa Myanmar. Pero ano pa ba yung ibang scams na nangyayari for those looking for jobs online? Baka naman you could share with us some ideas or stories para at least alam ng kababayan natin anong mangyayaring masama if hindi sila maingat.
Sir Diego, tama po kayo, Ang magagaling sa mga scammers po na ito, they monitor our labor advisories. They know kung saan papunta, kung ano yung trend, For example, bigyan ho kayo ng halimbawa. Alam nila na maraming mga nagre-recruit going to a certain place like Canada. And the skills required are, for example, fruit pickers.
Okay.
Tapos lately, meron kaming announcement going to Finland naman. No? Kailangan nila ng healthcare workers at mga skilled workers and those in the hospitality sector. Gagamitin po nila yung PEG na yun. Alam po nila. And then yung mga kababayan po natin, i-validate yung news item at labor advisory sa DMW, makikita nila eh. Tama po, sakto. Pero they don't know that they are already dealing with an online scammer. So napakahirap po talaga eh. So ang pinakamainam po talaga, pinakamaganda dito, no? Transact personally with any recruitment agency. Pag nakuha po ninyo yung kanilang address, pag nakuha po kanila yung contact number, tawagan po ninyo tapos sabihin ninyo saan po ang office ninyo at kami po ay pupunta dyan. Kung hindi naman po kaya, no? Like for example, nasa provinces po sila, no? Kasi sa probinsya may mga job seekers din po. Meron po tayo mga DMW regional offices. Ang address po natin and contact numbers are nasa website natin. They can seek assistance through the validation of this information from our different DMW regional offices. Dito po sa Manila, nasa Ortigas po kami. Pwede rin po kaming tawagan, no? Meron po kaming direct line. Yung aming Migrant Workers Protection Bureau, this is an active office that prevents the commission of illegal recruitment and trafficking in persons. MWPB at dmw.gov.ph. You can contact, email us there at kami na po ang magva-validate kung yung nakita po ninyo ay legit or hindi. Ito pong binanggit kong opisina kanito, yung MWPB, Migrant Workers Protection Bureau. This is a very active office, no? Meron po kaming tinatawag na surveillance ng mga online scams, no? Sinusurvey po namin, tinitignan po namin yung mga post, no? In fact, sa Facebook, meron na po tayong napatanggal na mahigit 50,000 posts dyan, fake post. Sa TikTok, mahigit 21,000. Kaya all in all, 71,000. Imagine that big numbers kung ilan po yung papatol dyan. Napakalaki po talaga na pinag-uusapan po natin.
But Yusek, I was wondering, what is the DMW doing right now to go after these scammers at saka yung mismong mga nagpo-post ng mga fake postings nga tungkol sa mga job listings?
Yeah, good point po, ma'am. Ano? Buti po't na tanong po ninyo yan. We engage all government agencies, kahit po yung ating CIDG, yung cybercrime po natin, kausap po natin yan. We're very active in IACAT, yung DOJ po, meron po kaming active interventions dyan, at kami po yung nakikipag-ugnayan. Maski po sa SEC, sa Securities and Exchange Commission, including AMLAC, no? Meron po tayong mga collaboration dyan. Kaya lang nga po, napaka-inam na gumawa po tayo ng mga preventive programs rather than remedial measures, no? Ayaw natin na antayin pa natin mabiktima yung ating mga kababayan. Kinakailangan, bago pa mangyari yan, kinakailangan alam na natin kung paano natin mape-prevent, no? Preventive is a more better approach than providing for solutions pag nandyan na po yung problema.
Well, aside from you, Sec, in reporting to your office, no, kunyari, na biktima ako, ano ba ang legal recourse ng isang na-scam? Kunyari, malaking pera ang nailabas niya or napunta nga siya sa ibang bansa, hindi man makauwi. What is the legal recourse or ano pwedeng gawin to rectify these issues?
We are very active in providing legal assistance to victims of IR, illegal recruitment, and human trafficking. No? Yung binanggit kong opisina kanina, araw-araw po, napakadami ng tinutulungan natin. In fact, yung isang malaking sindikato, no, hindi ko na babanggitin kasi kasalukuyan na yung hearing niya at naaresto natin siya, no. Halos 1,000 mahigit yung kanyang naloko. At hininga niya ito ng an amount ranging from 150 to 200,000. At nang tanungin ko yung mga biktima, no, they are from far-flung areas, nagbenta pa nga ng mga ari-arian yung iba, nakakaaway. No? We already filed cases against these persons, na-aresto na po natin. We're trying to contact yung AMLAC para makita natin yung movement ng kanilang finances at ma-freeze natin at kung meron nga tayong makikita doon, ma-forfeit natin, magkaroon ng administrative forfeiture. No? Pero these are long shots. Hindi po natin alam kung ano doon pa yung pera. No? But the bottom line is, pinaka-importante po dito, makikipagtulungan po sa amin sana yung mga kababayan po natin na mga nagbabalak magtrabaho sa abroad. No? Tama po yung ginagawa natin ngayon, yung programa natin, pinapaigting po natin yung kampanya, Pero gayon pa man, kahit po napakaigting na ng kumpanya natin, napakarami pa rin pong nabibiktima.
Totoo. Siguro, pari-iterate na lang po, Yusek, ano po ba yung magiging parusa doon po sa mga hinahabol natin ng mga scammers, nag-post sa mga fake posting jobs, para po malaman po nila na uma-action po tayo at we're here po talaga para mawala po sila.
Ako, mabigat po ang parusa ng illegal recruitment, lalo na yung tinatawag na ang biktima ay mahigit 3. No? Meron po tayong unang-una, yung large scale. No?
Oo.
Tapos pwede po silang sampahan ng estafa. At kung 3 rin po yung gumawa at marami pa, syndicated estafa po yun. Tapos meron pa pong human trafficking. Lahat po ng binanggit kong krimen, kapag po yan ay isinampa sa inyo, hahantong po yan sa life imprisonment. No? Ibig sabihin, pang habang buhay pong pagkakakulong. No? Marami na po tayong nasampahan ng kaso at marami pa po tayong gagawin para po dyan. Banggitin ko lang, babalikan ko, for example, yung SWP, no? Yung tinatawag nating Seasonal Workers Program sa Korea, napakarami rin pong naging biktima dyan. Nung nag-anunsyo ang DMW na may mga ganyang pinoproseso tayong workers, sumabay yung ibang mga illegal recruiters at nagpalabas ng sarit-samong mga post na sinasabing sila ay may ganitong mga offers. No? Nung tayo naman ay nagpalabas ng mga caregivers at health workers, ganun din, sumausaw din po sila. So, yun po, no? Kinakailangan lang po, pag-ingatan po natin yung mga ganitong mga anunsyo at i-validate lang po natin.
Right.
Nawala si
Sir.
Kung www.dmw.gov.ph.
Okay.
Ayun, thank you
Can
for
you
that.
repeat that po?
Yeah.
Nawala po kayo eh.
Yeah. www.dmw.gov.ph po, yung website po natin where they can validate po if the post is genuine or not.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for your time. That was Department of Migrant Workers under Secretary Bernard Olalia.
All right, coming up,
Thank you, ma'am.
hostages are now being freed as the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas in the Gaza Strip takes effect.
And the government is set to declare a food security emergency this week. Para saan nga ba ito? Para saan nga ba ang food emergency?
We're just getting started. More of our top 10 news when brunch returns. Keep it here on One News. Good morning. You're still watching Brunch here on One News.
Quick greetings lang tayo dito sa Facebook
Yes.
app natin. Good morning daw. Happy Monday from Gary Field. Ralph Domingo, is Angela feeling well again? Sabi niya, #brunch. Christian Cabalquinto, good morning daw sa atin lahat. Mina Benyales, good morning po sa atin and happy Monday.
Yon. Si Alex Fuentes, don't forget, lagi yan nandyan sa Facebook. And of course, dito sa YouTube, we have Tita Daisy, Tita Naldin, Kuya Jopet from Antipolo, at saka si Mirna Almaria from Green Park, Pasig, nanonood sila. We also have Mark Santiago. Si Summer Cabrera, sabi niya, hi mga kabrunchies, mga Lodi, new week, new laban. I like that. Totoo naman.
Every week sa fights.
Elmo Cardenas, at saka si Roy Nara, nanonood din sila sa atin. Si VJ, si Ate Icy, nanonood sa atin.
Okay.
Si Tita Esther Abay. Alright, let's continue with our countdown. Going straight now to our 7th spot, thousands of Palestinians burst into the streets across Gaza as a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas began on Sunday. Here's a report.
Palestinians in the Gaza Strip have welcomed the ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas. They express relief and joy over the prospect of rebuilding their lives without fear.
والله لا يوصف يعني هذا نصر لنا يعني نصر لنا للفقير للي جاع للمصاب للجريح للشعار حتى الشهيد في الجنة كمان انتصر يعني بفرحة أهالي غزة هذه يعني شعور لا يوصف.
The ceasefire, brokered by Qatar, Egypt, and the United States, took effect on Sunday after a brief delay. The 42-day first phase of the ceasefire would see the release of hostages. Hamas released 3 Israeli hostages who were flown to Tel Aviv by helicopter. They were the first of 33 hostages due to be freed by the Palestinian militant group in exchange for 90 Palestinian prisoners held in Israeli jails.
Super excitement. I was able to touch her for a few seconds and to hear her voice saying I love you. And I managed to tell her how much I love her and hold her hand for a few seconds and to see she's okay. And there's no words to describe what I'm feeling right now.
Displaced Gazans are starting to return to their homes. In the past 15 months, over 45,000 Palestinian people in Gaza have been killed by the Israeli onslaught, which began on October 7, 2023 after Hamas launched surprise attacks on southern Israel. For News 5, Gerard de la Peña, We Are One News.
Yan. So as we speak, there are already 630 trucks with humanitarian aid enter the Gaza para dun sa mga tao dyan, no, na nangangailangan ng tulog. Kasi diba, access to food and water is really hard, especially during the attack, no?
Nakita mo yung sinabi ng isang yung taga-Gaza, di ba? This move, this ceasefire benefits the poor. Kasi ang poor talaga sa Gaza Strip ang tinamaan dito.
Yes.
Because Hamas, given they're tagged as a part of a terror group, they're using innocent Palestinians as shields.
Human shield.
As human shields. Nadadamay sila sa gulo ng dalawang paksyon. Israel naman retaliated because of that initial attack on them sa concert sa desert. October. So this benefits all of them. But the question is, will this ceasefire lead to a longer lasting peace deal?
Well, that's the goal.
Everyone is hoping for that
of
because it's gonna be difficult for a lot of them daw to rebuild kasi sirang-sira na talaga yung area na yan.
Totoo. That's the goal, long-lasting peace.
Long-lasting peace.
Kaya nga, they have set 3 phases of the ceasefire. First phase would be this one. Papauwiin na, pwede na umuwi yung mga tao doon, pero anong uuwian nila? Of course, releasing of hostages ng kabilaan. Actually, nagkaroon nga daw ng konting delay doon sa agreement dito sa ceasefire. The number 1, of course, kinailangan yung approval ng cabinet members ng Israeli government. And they've also asked for list of hostages from the Palestinian na ipapa-release. Tapos, of course, yung second phase would be rebuilding, so on and so forth. Yung pag-alis ng mga tropa ng militante ng Israel sa Gaza, may mga areas na pumayag silang alisin, but there are still areas na they will still be there.
Pero wala daw operations, but most of the Israeli Defense Forces will be there to secure yung area to make sure na hindi mag-relapse or lumala yung sitwasyon. Kasi baka mag-take advantage itong mga ibang Hamas militants daw, they might have operations during the ceasefire. But it's an ongoing conflict. We will update you as we move along, but let's move on to the next topic. Moving on to our 6th spot, the Bureau of Immigration has apprehended 32 foreign nationals working in an illegal pogo in Parañaque. Among those arrested during an operation on January 17 were 20 Chinese nationals, 11 Malaysians, and 1 Cambodian. These individuals were allegedly involved in various scamming activities, including love scams. The arrested pogo workers are currently in the custody of the National Bureau of Investigation while undergoing deportation proceedings. The BI said more arrests and deportations are expected as authorities continue their crackdown on illegal pogos following the nationwide ban.
Now to give us more updates on the crackdown on pogo, we have Bureau of Immigration spokesperson Dana Sandoval on the line. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Magandang umaga.
Ayun. Alright, sige, kamustahin na lang po namin yung crackdown po ng gobyerno, especially po ng Bureau of Immigration, dito po sa mga illegal pogos natin. Kasi recently, ang immigration po ay nakapag-arrest po ng 32 illegal pogo workers. Ito po yung update natin. Go ahead po.
Yes. Yes, this is actually the third in 2 weeks na major arrests natin. Pangatlo na to. The first one was, I think, mga 400 plus. And then the next one was 29. And then this one is 32. So we're really aggressive, siguro masasabi natin, in our efforts to rid the country of these POGO workers that continue or are brazen enough to stay in the Philippines despite the POGO ban that was set by the national government.
Spokes, no, based sa mga visas na nag-grant sa kanila, tsaka mga hindi pa nag-exit, how many are you possibly looking at na illegal pa rin na nagsistay dito?
We're looking into maybe 8,000 to 9,000
Wow.
from those who used to stay here in the Philippines under legal online gambling companies. But that's just the ones under legal, the
So you're
formerly
saying,
legal
Spokes,
POGO companies.
It could be more than...
Yeah,
kasi, okay,
it could be more. Yes,
Okay,
it could be more. It definitely could be more, and that's what we're targeting now. The thing is, unlike in the past, where when these POGO companies had big compounds with 1,000 or more employees, now they have smaller operations. What they're doing, what we've monitored, is that the bigger ones have distributed their operations into smaller offshoot operations of a smaller scale, maybe 10 or less. This one, the past ones that we've arrested are actually big ones. But the information that we've been receiving is that there are even smaller groups of 10 in an area, like residential area or condominium area. And those are the ones that we are also targeting.
Yeah, Spokes, no, I heard some also daw are going the route of presenting themselves as tourists in resorts, and then kunyari tourist group sila, tapos may kanya-kanyang laptop, kanya-kanyang portable router. Is that accurate, Spokes?
Yeah, that's the last one that we arrested in Silang was inside a resort, and they pretended they booked the resort. There was an agent that booked the resort for them, and then suddenly there were these laptops, there were these all those IT equipment that were placed already in the resort, and then meron na pala sila. They already had operations there. So the community was alarmed because they saw a number of foreign nationals. These were 29 aliens that go around the area. That's why we received information about it, and we were able to arrest them. So this is what we're worried about, that they're using the private areas, yung mga gated communities, condominiums that are not easily accessible to law enforcement, to be able to evade inspection or detection.
Spokes, can you give us a siguro brief process po or a whole picture of how immigration is doing this process po of deportation? Let's say, for example, kapag nahuli nyo nga po sila dito, what happens now? Ilang days po sila mananatili sa immigration office? And how much are we spending already on deportation process on cracking illegal POGOs here in our country?
Yes, once arrested, usually niyan dinadala natin sa detention center natin in Saint Camp Pagundiwa in Bikutan, Taguig. But for these major arrests that are usually done with in coordination with other local law enforcement agencies, they are able to help us by temporarily housing or being the area for the detention, kasi hindi na po kaya talaga ng detention center natin in Bikutan. It's meant for 100 plus detainees. Now there's more than 300 there, so hindi na talaga kaya ng center natin. That's why we're very thankful then sa ating partner agencies, NBI, PNP, PAOK, who have housed these arrests that we have conducted. So while they are there, ang kanilang deportation case is ongoing. It's essentially just the paperwork, and we also get the travel document from their embassy as well as the NBI clearance to ensure that they do not have any other pending accountabilities in the Philippines. So once all of that is done, they have their ticket from themselves or through the help of the embassy. Saka natin mai-implement ang deportation. In this case, it seems since madami sila, there might be arrangements for siguro sabay-sabay. Like in the past, if you can recall the previous arrests that we've conducted, sabay-sabay po yung implementation ng deportation nila. Because it's for logistical purposes para mas madali din sa atin yung pag-implement ng deportation.
Spokes on
Hindi, yung kung may data po si Spokes doon sa magkano na nagagastos ng gobyerno natin dito sa deportation process.
Ang budget for the meals ng isang individual, daily detention is 70 pesos for each individual. But of course, yung costs niya nung transportation, they add up. Yung guarding natin doon sa mga tao doon, people going from the main office to there, it adds up. That's why we want to expedite this as much as we can because we don't want the costs to be piling up. And habang tumatagal, marami tayong pinapakain, marami tayong ginagwardyahan, lumalaki yung gastusin.
So nakakamilyon na tayo dyan, Spokes?
I would believe so kasi the first one is already 400 people. The first major arrest for the year was already 400 people. So we're looking into maybe this is almost 500 people na hinahouse pa natin before deportation.
All right, mahababang issue but we'll keep in touch. Thank you very much for those updates. That was BI spokesperson Dana Sandoval.
Thank you and good morning.
I wanted to ask sana about kasi may balita na ang difficulty daw ng BI is containing yung mga nandito, both legal and illegal, tas papaalisin. But there are reports that are saying na kung 400 daw pinapaalis sila, may pumapasok daw in the guise of being tourists. So I wanted to ask po sana if they're monitoring this, but maybe next time when we get a chance to talk to her.
All right, let's continue with our countdown. Switching gears now for our top 5, the Philippines and the United States conducted the first maritime cooperative activity this year. Naval and air units from the two countries took part in military drills in Palawan near the West Philippine Sea on January 17 and 18. Armed Forces Chief Romeo Bronner Jr. said the MCA aims to increase the Philippines' defense cooperation with its U.S. counterparts. This was the 5th maritime cooperative activity between the two nations since the drill started in November 2023. Alright, ito kasi syempre yung to strengthen our capability, our presence sa pinag-aagawang teritoryo natin.
We have to flex whatever little muscle that we have para mandang...
Especially may issue with the monster ship.
Kasi if we want to talk to China on the negotiating table, we have to have some sort of leverage.
Right.
Alright, but let's move on to the next. Arriving at our 4th spot, the Commission on Elections has declared several areas in Panay and Negros Islands as areas of concern ahead of the May 2025 midterm elections. In Iloilo Province, at least 9 areas are under monitoring, including the town of Kalinog, which was placed under the red category due to previous cases of election-related violence. Also listed as areas of concern are 2 areas in Capiz and 1 in Antique. In Negros Occidental, 5 areas are being monitored, including Sipalay City. COMELEC said identifying these areas is crucial for ensuring security and a peaceful electoral process. Ayun, several of the areas mentioned were the previous hotspots in the other elections. It's because yung politics in these areas are tinatawag nilang feudal politics. Yung labanan talaga for control of these local areas, especially between families who've been nagpapalitan lang
Mga
sila every
rido,
election.
ganyan,
Nagpapalitan lang sila na every election. One family is here, the next election, iba na.
Pag natapos yung term, di ba,
ganun sila
palitan. So,
naglalabanan.
increase lang yung security nila doon.
Oo.
Di ba, just to make sure. Alright, let's continue with our countdown. Now on our top 3, the COMELEC will start printing again official ballots for the 2025 elections on Wednesday. COMELEC Chairman George Garcia said they aim to use all the printing machines available to be able to catch up. Recall that 6 million printed ballots worth around 132 million pesos were put to waste. This came after the Supreme Court issued a temporary ruling against the disqualification of some candidates. The printing of over 70 million ballots was originally supposed to be finished by April 14.
Yeah, ito yung mga sa Supreme Court na na-elevate yung kay Congressman Irice,
Pati yung sa
kay
San
Ritualo,
Juan.
yung kay General Ritualo et al.
Sila kasi yung mga names sila were already not in the ballot.
Not in the ballot.
So,
And then they
nag-print
started printing. Oo.
Nagkaroon ng ruling ng Supreme Court ng TRO, kailangan kasama sila doon. Because we all know naman, even sinabi rin ng COMELEC, they can only subtract, no, or tanggalan, no, remove from the ballot kesa mag-add.
Buti na lang yung tinamaan dito are mostly local candidates. Kasi kung national candidates like senatorial, halos lahat ng print mo, uulitin mo.
Oo, ito 60 million ballots.
Kasi local areas, San Juan, tsaka kay Congressman Irice.
So, what happens now is, kaya hindi ka agad sila nag-print because they have to go back to the election management system.
Yes.
Diba? To reprogram yung mga candidates na nandoon. Pagkatapos nun, that's when they print. After printing, may mga ano pa daw yan, may mga verification process pa kung tama ba yung bilog, tama ba yung number ni candidate ganito.
I-recalibrate daw nila lahat yan because you're removing something from, or removing or adding something from the ballot, the machine has to be able to read it.
Pero can you imagine, 132 million na sayang yan dahil sa pagprinta ng ballot.
Anyway, don't go away. We're not done yet. May dalawa pa tayo. Please stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching Brunch here on One News. Happy Monday, everyone. Thank you for joining us to start the week. Let's move on to the next. Straight on to our top 2. China's so-called monster ship has yet to leave the West Philippine Sea. The Philippine Coast Guard issued another radio challenge against the vessel over the weekend. PCG spokesperson for WPS, or the West Philippine Sea, Jay Tariela, explained that their mandate is limited. They can only monitor and issue radio challenges and cannot impose a deadline for the stay of the vessel. Still, the PCG maintained that the presence of the Chinese ship in the area is illegal.
Quiet sila tungkol dun sa BCM di ba? Before the BCM, yung bilateral consultation meeting with China, sabi nila, one of the topics that will be issued or will be raised there would be the presence of monster ships sa West Philippine Sea. Pero after ng BCM, ang na-receive lang natin or nakita natin sa mga report na napag-usapan is yung agreement na continuation ng RORI mission natin.
That's correct.
Diba? Doon sa BRP Sierra Madre. Pero wala pa akong nakitang concrete na report regarding sa monster
Any dialogue naman that has foreign or national security issues, usually hindi naman rin-release ka agad yan until ayaw yung klading usapan. Kasi baka mag-bog down ng negotiation, baka may nangyayaring negotiations, may back-channeling pa yan. If it bogs down, it's because may nag-leak na. So, syempre...
Pero tapos na yung BCM. Next we'll be here again in the Philippines, pero parang later part of
kahit tapos na yung BCM, usually meron after meetings pa yan. May ongoing na back-channel meetings na yan. Parang mga house of cards lang yan, tsaka ibang pinipinapalit.
Kasi di ba nire-radio challenge natin sila? Pero...
Actually, parang sinabi ni Jay Tariela na he was saying na medyong gumana ang radio, pagiging makulit, pagiging makulit natin. When we sent our 2 ships, tas nagcha-challenge tayo sa malalaking ship, medyo hindi daw nag-progress yung pagpipilit ng monster ship to go near yung coast natin, di ba? Parang medyo lumalayo daw siya ng konti. So yung ginagawa ng Coast Guard, medyo somewhat nakakatulong kahit papano naman.
Kasi ngayon ang monster ship nasa Bajo de Masinloc.
Yeah, they have 1 monster ship but we have 2 of our biggest ships shadowing it. So, although hindi man sinlaki ng monster ship, dalawa pa rin yun.
Alright, let's continue with our countdown. On our top spot, the Department of Agriculture is expected to declare a food security emergency on Wednesday, January 22. Here's a report.
The Department of Agriculture may declare a food security emergency on January 22. DA spokesperson Assistant Secretary Arnel de Mesa said they expect to receive the recommendation from the National Price Coordinating Council regarding this matter by today, January 20.
In-expect na ma-review yan, Monday din hanggang Tuesday, at ang expectation by Wednesday ay meron ng action ang ating kalihim, and most likely is the declaration of food security emergency.
Under the amended rice tariffication law, the DA can declare a food security emergency on rice due to a supply shortage or an unusual price increase. The government has already implemented several measures to reduce rice prices. These include reducing the tariff on imported rice from 35% to 15% under Executive Order 62 and programs under Kadiwa.
Despite all of this, nananatiling elevated. Bagamat meron tayong nararamdamang pagbaba, but not to the level that we are expecting it to decrease.
Meanwhile, the Samahan ng Industriya ng Agrikultura has expressed support for the declaration of a food security emergency. However, SINAG said that this appears to be an admission by the government that the reduction in tariffs has not helped lower rice prices. They are now calling on the NPCC to recommend to the National Economic and Development Authority the revocation of Executive Order 62 and the reinstatement of the 35% tariff.
Para yung pondo na nawala, around 16 billion, or maibalik sa government para yung pondo na balilikot sa tariff collection, diretsong mag-benefit ang farmers.
President Bongbong Marcos has earlier voiced his support for the move. The declaration would allow the National Food Authority to release its buffer stock of 300,000 metric tons of rice to help stabilize prices. For News 5, I'm Ria Fernandez. We are One News.
Sinasabi nila maganda rin daw itong declaration ito para nga daw ma-decongest yung mga warehouses ng NFA. Ang tanong dyan, which warehouse ng NFA yung kailangan i-decongest at saka bakit kailangan i-decongest? Dahil dumating yung mga panahon na 4 na sunod-sunod na bagyo, hindi ba nabigyan ng mga bigas yung mga kababayan natin, di ba? Kasi supposedly, ang NFA naman natin ay para doon sa mga emergency purposes.
Yung sinasabi nga nila is we're declaring a food emergency in a time na wala na masyadong calamity tumatama. Diba? So what happens pag an actual calamity comes at medyo depleted na yung warehouse mo?
Pero sabi naman nila kasi daw, February and by March mostly, anihan na ulit. So yung makukuha nila from this release, okay lang naman daw sa timing ng harvest by
Pero
March.
kung ginagamit nilang one of the reasons being used aside from an actual food emergency is to decongest the warehouse, I don't think that is a good enough reason. Sabi ng ibang groups, while there is a problem with rice prices and there is a problem with the supply, other groups have been saying it does not constitute yet an emergency situation because na-afford pa in general ng general population ang prices ng rice.
Pero
and there is
mataas
access.
masyado.
Oo, and there is access to mga bigas.
Oo.
'Di ba? Kasi parang if you were to look at the 1988 to 1990 food emergency ng Russia, you had people lining up trading boots and t-shirts for actual food because wala nang access to food. Yun ang sinasabi
ito daw
ng
particular food security emergency declaration na supposedly
ano yung specific
will be issued by
provisions
January
nito?
22 would be it's either one, walang supply ang bansa.
Ayun, okay.
2 is mataas ang presyo.
That's why
Sobrang taas.
That's why we have to understand this more and to see kung ano yung mga provisions
Yes.
dito. But let's talk more about this with DA spokesperson Assistant Secretary Arnel de Mesa. ASEC, thank you very much for joining us.
Hi, magandang umaga po, Angela and Diego. Magandang umaga po sa lahat.
Alright, Asek, let's get right to it. Natanggap na ba ng DA ang recommendation from the NPCC?
Expected namin ma-receive ngayong araw na ito. Nasa Mancom lang kami kaya hindi ko ma-monitor kung receive na. Pero expectedly ngayong araw ma-receive namin yung recommendation ng NPCC.
Okay. So, though sinasabi po ng SINAG, welcome development daw po itong ginawa ng administration natin, pagdedeklara ng food security emergency para ma-release yung mga buffer stocks natin through NFA. Sinasabi po nila, failure naman daw po yung ginawa ng DA na pagbababa ng taripa sa imported rice. Your reaction on that po?
Actually, Angela, kung titingnan natin, napakahalaga rin ng ginawang pagbaba doon sa tarifa from 35 to 15%. Kung hindi naman yung ginawa, expectedly, sigurado, mas mataas pa rin yung presyo ng bigas. Pero naman pinagbasihan doon ng NEDA at saka DOF sa pagbaba ng tarifa. Pero sa ngayon, pinag-aaralan din naman ng DA kung kami kasi recommendation lang, kung i-recommend din doon sa body kung pwedeng taasan or ibalik sa dati yung taripa ng imported na bigas.
Asek, if hindi po let's say hindi na consider itong food security emergency declaration, ang tanong ng marami is just how high ang prices ng rice maaring mag-spike?
Yan yung actually sa ngayon dahil nga doon sa pagbaba ng taripa, maganda yung volume ng ating bigas ngayon nationwide. Supposed to be mas malaki sana yung ibinaba ng presyo ng bigas pero hindi natin nararamdaman yung expected na level ng pagbaba. Kaya nagkaroon ng konsiderasyon ng NPCC na i-aproba yung resolution na magdedeklara nga ng food security emergency.
So while we are expecting po itong declaration ng food security emergency sa ating bansa, by January 22, ang tanong po of course is hanggang kailan ito?
Depende po, titingnan natin yung kung ano yung content ng resolution at pag-aaralan mabuti po yan ng DA. Kung matanggap nga po yan ngayon, tuloy-tuloy po ang review niyan hanggang bukas. And most likely by Wednesday ay magkaroon na po ng action ng ating kalihim. Yung kung gaano po katagal, depende po yun sa magiging review po natin.
So, aside pa po dito sa nakikita nating measures that we're doing right now, itong pagdedeclare ng food security emergency, ano pa po yung mga naiisip po ng government natin para po makatulong po dito sa problema natin sa mga napakataas po na presyo ng mga bigas?
Una na po dyan yung pagre-release ng stocks ng NFA. Dalawa po yung purpose niyan. Una, ma-dispose po yung mga stocks ng NFA para po makapabilis ang NFA sa darating na anihan dahil puno-puno po yung mga warehouse natin. Pangalawa, of course, ito pong i-release na bigas ng NFA ay relatively cheaper doon po sa presyo sa merkado ngayon. So makakatulong po ito na ma-relieve yung supply and demand natin na mas mura nga po ito, malaking supply na darating galing NFA at lower price, definitely it will have an impact doon po sa presyohan sa merkado. Yung
pangamba po, nung iba po na mga nagsasabi na kung gagamitin daw po natin yung mga buffer stocks natin sa NFA warehouses, yung pangamba po nila na baka daw po by the time that we need it sa mga calamity, wala na. Your thoughts on that po?
Ay, hindi naman po mangyari yun dahil malinaw po sa mandato ng National Food Authority na pangunahin po niya na layunin ay yung bumili sa mga magsasaka and at the same time ay magsubi para po sa buffer stock. Aware po dyan ng NFA at yan po ay hindi naman po isasama dun sa ipapamamili. Ibebenta para po masigurado na may stock siya for calamity relief.
Right. Pero Asek, yung isa pa po din sinasabi nilang issue dito ay yung kung bakit daw po bakit daw po may decongestion na nangyayari ngayon sa mga warehouses natin sa NFA when in fact marami daw po tayong pinagdaan ng bagyo last year.
Ano naman po yun? Regular naman po na namimili sa atin ang DSWD, ang OTD at iba pang ahensya na nangangasiwa sa calamity relief effort. Nagkataon lang po talaga na ito po yung unang pagkakataon ng NFA ay na rin sa itinatakba ng ating General Appropriations na nakapamili po talaga sila ng husto at marami po silang nabili sa mga magsasaka. So ibig sabihin po niyan ay punong-puno po yung mga warehouses natin at sobra-sobra pa po doon sa pangangailangan sa calamity relief.
Alright, sige. Maraming salamat po muli sa inyong oras. That was DA Spokesperson Assistant Secretary Arnel de Mesa. Maraming salamat po ulit sa inyong oras.
Ayun,
Maraming salamat din po. Mabuhay kayo. Good morning.
Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. Thank you. It's another
So,
episode
we'll
of
be
Brunch.
expecting January 22. Kung hanggang kailan, hindi pa rin nila alam.
Alright, that concludes another episode of Brunch on a Monday. With that, I'd like to leave you with a quote. Be yourself, everyone else is already taken. That's from Oscar Wilde. Remember that. And that wraps up today's episode of Brunch.
Join us again tomorrow, Angela Castro. And he is Angelo Castro III. We're One News.
All sides, all the time.
Perfect.